All right, Dalton, we promised this all offseason. We are previewing every single freaking Power 4 team in college football, all 70 of them, starting with the SEC and starting with maybe the best team in college football, that is the Georgia Bulldogs. So you see right there, went 13-1 last year, and honestly, Dalton, that was a massive disappointment by their standards because the 2 years before, obviously, they won the national championship. So now you see right there, the number one team in PFF's power rankings. They're one of the top teams in college football overall because of how good their roster is. They're recruiting at a very high level, have a 10.5 win total on FanDuel. You can see right there as well. This is definitely one of the best teams in college football, Dalton, and they are back with a vengeance right now. They're going for their third national title in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, you really look at them and you go, they lost one game last year, and it was just the biggest game of the year against the one team they couldn't lose to. But, I think the biggest thing with Georgia, if we're not calling them the best team in college football, which we certainly could going into 2024, they're certainly the most well-rounded, right? Like, you just don't see a clear flaw on this team. You just have to go out there like Alabama did in the SEC title game and just find a way to beat them, right? They have a top 10 position unit ranking for us at every single unit. You've got arguably the best quarterback in the country. You've got maybe the best pass protection in the country, stacked at running back, stacked at receiver and tight end and everything like that. Their defense is loaded with stars. Last year it was a younger group. This year, I think this defense could really mature into something special. Last year, they were just replacing a lot of talent. But when you look at Georgia and you go, okay, how do you beat them? The answer is just kind of you just have to find a way because you just don't see one big flaw that you can put your thumb in and keep them down.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest weakness for the team, honestly, is a small one. It's like, can the pass rush get better? It was still good last year, don't get me wrong, but Georgia earned a top 20 grade in the country in every single aspect of our grading system in terms of passing, pass blocking, receiving, running, a rushing grade, run blocking, run defense, tackling, coverage. All of it was top 20. Except for pass rush. They were 43rd in pass rushing grade last year. That was kind of the one issue with the team last year. And the unit kind of stays the same, right? So you're going to have guys like Mykel Williams, who a lot of people have as the number one overall player in the 2025 NFL draft. Dalton and I personally aren't there yet, but you need guys like him to step up. And he's kind of playing a different role in that defense this year, so maybe he will step up and do that. But that's kind of what the one kind of weakness for this Georgia team right now is that the pass rush hasn't been as dominant as it was, say, in their two national championship seasons.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, and Mykel Williams is the big name that's going to be talked about through next year's draft. And then guys like Nazir Stackhouse and Kirby Smart's always putting together blitz packages and stunts too. But no, the pass rush will be a big thing just in their bigger games when you talk about playing Alabama and Ole Miss and chasing down a Jalen Milroe and things like that. Can they just – that's the one part where you could go, could they be marginally better to really just be the most well-rounded team in the country?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dalton, you actually did an awesome breakdown. By the way, I didn't mention this at the top, and I should have. All of these articles are up at pff.com, so if you want to check it out, go check it out already. There will be a promo code that we tease at the end of the video as well to get some money off in order to get a subscription to the pff.com. But you actually did an amazing breakdown on every single one of these quarterbacks that we're going over, strengths and weaknesses. So let's go over Carson Beck, man, the best quarterback in America for both of us. What makes him so special, and what are some of the things he can clean up a little bit?
He's just such a quick processor and such a quick decision maker. Like the more I watch him, the more I think about like Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff. Like he's a true pocket quarterback, but he's such a quick processor and he's so darn accurate, right? 80.6% adjusted completion percentage. That was third best in the entire country. A 2.39 second average time to throw, one of the quickest marks in the country. He just fits. He makes such, even though they have great pass protection and he could hold the ball, he makes such good decisions, such quick decisions that keep the offense moving and get first downs. And honestly, I think a guy for me that I think he's going to love throwing to is the transfer tight end, Ben Urasek from Stanford. It just matches. Like Carson Beck wants to throw quickly, very often over the middle of the field and move the chains, right? He's just that guy who gets first down. Now, if there's one thing you could say, or probably two things you could say about Carson Beck, is one, he's a true pocket quarterback. Like, I think the more we watch him this year, the more we're going to think about a Jared Goff, right? Just a 38.9 passing grade last year when moved off of his spot. He wants to operate from the pocket, climb the pocket, and on occasion when he runs straight through the pocket. The other thing, too, is it's kind of a mediocre big-time throw rate for him. 3.8% isn't terrible, but it's not real like high either. So I think in big games, let's say against better secondaries like like in Alabama, or just against better defenses, right? When you're talking about maybe needing to push the ball downfield a little bit more, hold the ball a little bit longer. But I think that is a combination of Georgia's receiving core needing to figure things out. They were a little conservative last year. Say a Dominic Lovett needs to get open downfield, but Beck, you know what you're getting, and there's pros and cons to that, but there's many, many more pros. It's basically as clean a profile to project this year of any college quarterback in the country.
Yeah, I think he's the best quarterback in the country. I love the Jared Goff comparison. I think that's how I would compare him to an NFL guy right now. And yeah, it's not like a superstar guy like we've had in Caleb Williams or Bryce Young in the past, but I still think he's the best quarterback in the country that we have in college football right now. So what I'm going to do now is kind of highlight a player on offense besides the quarterback that we think is the best offensive player for Georgia. And it's one of the big guys up front, man, is Tate Ratledge, who we think is the best offensive guard in college football because of how dominant he is as a pass blocker, man. He had an 87.4 pass blocking grade, which was third among Power 5 guards last year. He's also third in the Power 5 with a 1.3% pressure rate allowed. In 2022, he was fourth in pass blocking grade, third in pressure rate allowed, and second in pass blocking grade on true passes. So it's not only a one-year thing for Tate Ratledge. He has been an elite pass protector in each of the past 2 years and easily is the best returning pass protecting interior offensive lineman in college football. And a guy that I could tell you, Carson Beck, is very, very grateful to have protecting him up front.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he's just such just a good, safe, clean player that you have at a big time position that helps. And I'll tell you what, they have one on defense too. We're going to go through a defensive player spotlight here in every one of these videos. And we've got a fun one for Georgia and their safety, Malachi Starks, man. And I think we both believe for the 2025 class that this is going to be the best safety in the NFL draft. 84.8 run defense grade, was 7th best in the country last year. Had a great true freshman season and then just had a huge improvement in his sophomore year. This guy, I mean, he just can do it all, right? He can run defend, he can cover, he can pick passes off. He's one of the most well-rounded players at any position in the country, and he's the anchor of their secondary. You want them to get a little bit better of a pass rush, but even if they don't, they stand a chance because Starks is headlining that group on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's finish up on our preview of Georgia with the bottom line right now. What should the expectation be for this team heading into 2024? What do you think is going to happen for them in 2024? What's your bottom line for the Georgia Bulldogs heading into the next season?
They should firmly expect to contend for a trophy, for a national title, right? Last year, you lost one game. There's probably some people that would still say, oh, they could have won the whole thing last year. Maybe they could have beat Michigan and gotten through and beaten Washington and all of that, right? Like, they're national championship caliber every year. They have enough talent. They're so well-rounded. They're so well-coached. They're one of, I think, the handful of teams who, if they don't win a national title, even in this 12-team playoff, that – it would be a disappointment because they always have that much talent. They have the talent to do it every single year.
Dude, they went 13-1 last year, and Georgia fans were pissed about it. That is a miraculous season for almost anyone else, and they were pissed that they won the Orange Bowl and only lost one game last year. So that should tell you the expectations for Georgia right now. And you mentioned it, man. They have the best quarterback in the country and one of the best rosters in the country as well. They are definitely one of, if not the favorite, to win the national title next year, which, like I said before, would be their third national championship in 4 years. So an unreal run that Kirby Smart has right now, and should be another great team he's got in 2024. That's what we got for our preview of the Georgia Bulldogs. Once again, we are previewing every single Power 4 team heading into the 2024 season. So make sure you subscribe to the channel for more of these previews coming very soon.